Welcome back to the Ellis Martin Report on Money Talk Radio. I'm Ellis Martin. Today I'm joined by Don Currie, CEO of Hillcrest Energy Technologies, a power conversion company trading in Canada on the CSE under the symbol HEAT and in the United States on the OTC markets as HLRTF. Hillcrest is a first mover in ultra-high efficiency, zero-voltage switching technology, with third-party testing showing efficiencies as high as 99.7% and dramatically reduced electromagnetic interference. These are performance gains with real implications for AI data centers, grid infrastructure, energy storage, and electric vehicles. At current price levels, Hillcrest represents a compelling technology story for investors focused on efficiency, electrification, and next-generation power systems. Don, welcome back to the program.
I really appreciate another opportunity to speak to you.
We just spoke last week, and in that time, Hillcrest just announced a strategic industrial development agreement. What does this MOU signal in terms of validating your ZVS technology beyond grid scale and automotive markets?
We're very excited about this, and it's great that we're able to follow up with you as quick as we are. When we're dealing with some of these larger institutions, data centers, industrial uses, so on and so forth, that are going to potentially be using the technology, there are certain steps that have to be done, development deals. What this indicates is that they have enough of an interest or confidence that the technology will be beneficial to them, and they're prepared to commit to us to go through the development process to put us into their upcoming projects. It's a group that is building numerous industrial facilities that require large electrical processes, and our technology is designed and we believe will save them both capital costs and increase their revenue stream downstream.
Don, I have to ask you, you've signed an MOU with an unnamed entity. Why is it unnamed?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thanks for asking. It's unnamed at this point in time because with this particular customer, there are more than one or two players at the table. There's procurement, there's land, there's the application, there's the industrial company, and then the financial groups. And all of that is being put together. So at this point in time, they don't want the name to be used, but I would estimate or suggest that the name will become public in not too long of a time frame here. So for competitive reasons, for reasons that are internal, they don't want their name to be used, but they definitely are okay with us saying we've signed an MOU and their name will be becoming more public in the near future.
So this really isn't R&D, this is the build out for these companies.
It is the build-up for the companies, but in every case, what happens is that power conversion system becomes part of an overall system. So they need to make sure that the overall, our power conversion fits into the system that they're providing. So the inversion is part of a full electrical program, and they have many, many different levels of conversion that they're going to require. Of course, we have confidence that no matter what they require, we'll be able to have an effect for them. And they're prepared to go through the processes over the next period of time to show that our technology will work well with them.
How important is this real-world field validation? Technically, that's what it is, in accelerating adoption of new power technologies.
It's incredibly important. What it does, the value is here. If it works for them, it'll work for everybody. They're basically, we like to say, best dressed first in. They're basically the group that's saying to us, okay, we see the value. Let's start working with that. Now, a company our size has a certain amount of bandwidth. If this 200 kilowatt, 1000 volt power conversion system works for them, it's going to work in other applications. It's absolutely going to work. So they're taking the lead role and having a preferred position with us for their particular uses.
So they are cross-market with these modular building blocks. You both are more or less platform technologies.
Yes. And again, I think what happens is that it was said a long time ago, you never know who's watching you until all of a sudden you have some successes and people appear. We're being watched, we're being viewed by many, many, many different outfits. Some are in communication with us. And I think as the results start coming into these various milestones, which are intended to lead to commercial contracts. Commercial, what are they going to buy? How are they going to pay for that? When do they need it? The other people that are watching, they'll be able to benefit with the results that come from this as well.
Okay, you've identified about 7 core application areas from AI data centers to military forward operating bases. Which of all of these do you see as the fastest path for early revenue?
Very good question. I think that the remote community and microgrids are something that is a real focus for governments that we're talking to. It has applications in both defense and you can think remote communities in both countries like Canada and the US. That has a value and is probably a quicker path to revenue. AI data centers, that's front and center, probably the biggest sector that has growth in front of us. And so we're able to focus and go on a parallel path with both. I would say microgrids is probably the quickest to revenue. But when we say quickest, there probably isn't that big of a time frame between a microgrid and a data center.
I'm curious about the military applications of your technology since NATO is ramping up, the U.S. is ramping up, Canada probably as well. Where do you fit in that equation?
In dealing with governments, they are required through recent developments to be spending more money, up to 5% of GDP, on military and defense applications. There is a real focus on that maybe was not there a year ago. And so even in our communications with our federal government here, they're coming up with ideas of where they need better efficiency, better cost certainty, so on and so forth in the defense community. Microgrids is a perfect example of that. So they're moving military bases is too big of a word, but military applications can be moved and they need electrical abilities to move with it. So it's a focus. It's something that's there and it's something that governments are very aware of.
The combined addressable markets that we've referenced during this interview exceed 180 billion US dollars by 2030. Where does Hillcrest fit within that number? And how do you prioritize opportunities without losing focus as interest builds across these sectors?
Prioritizing focus is fairly simple. It's about establishing a value where we see it's coming. Values come in different ways. Number one is that someone's prepared to go through the development process, such as the company that we announced the MOU with today. That eventually leads to a commercial contract. We know that the time frame in developing the technology and having the technology certified is going to be generally the same, whether it's 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. It's going to be generally the same as we move forward. At the end of the day, while we're talking to various companies, if there are numerous companies that are all ready to move forward, we look at the value of what does that end contract mean. We're not a large organization. And so what we have to do is look at the customer and say, they represent this amount of revenue for us, potential confirmation of technology for us. That probably doesn't answer the question the way you want, but when it comes to $180 billion addressable market, which is now they're showing at 2032, $209 billion, we want a contract or two, which gets us into the game. Once we're in the game, our technology will not be able to be kept on the shelves. We're very, very confident of that. It is one of those things that we show that in a real world application, this works, and we are more than confident it does, then we will have no problems with customers lining up.
Is it licensing of this technology that you're focusing on? You've just raised about $3 million. Do you have to stage up anything, or are you set to go for whatever applications that come from this?
Really depends on the customer's need. Most customers are going to look for a product on the grid side, so it'll be a power conversion system. We have the ability to implement our algorithm into other people's power conversion system. That can be done too. That would be a licensing. Then there would be, if we did the full system, that would obviously be sale of a system. So we're adaptable to the needs of the customer. And really that's a discussion that goes on right from day one with the various levels or execution points.
And this is all a North American product. We don't have to look outside the continent, do we?
No, we're not reliant outside the continent. We can build the system in Canada. We can build the system in the US. We can build the system close to the customer. It has worldwide applications, but it doesn't require outside influence.
And one more final question, Don. What would you say to folks that are looking at Hillcrest Energy Technologies for the very first time as a potential investment opportunity? Why now?
Well, again, we might be considered a startup, but we have a technology that we've demonstrated has value, and we have people talking to us. We've gone from the R&D stage to a development stage to now a commercialization stage. And then steps like today's announcement with the MOU and development process means that there are companies interested in moving forward with us. We need to be able to work with them to show that the technology will complement their system, which we're more than confident it will. But this is really the launching point. You're not going through an idea. We proved the idea is real.
Don, once again, a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today on the program. I look forward to our next update.
And I always appreciate this. Thank you.
That was Don Currie, CEO of Hillcrest Energy Technologies, trading on the CSE as HEAT, HEAT, and in the U.S. on the OTC markets as HLRTF. With demonstrated efficiency gains, broad applicability across grid and electrification markets, and upcoming commercial scale demonstrations, Hillcrest is a company investors may want to keep on their radar, particularly at current valuation levels. To learn more, visit hillcrestenergy.tech. I'm Ellis Martin, and this has been the Ellis Martin Report on Money Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. The Ellis Martin Report was compensated by Hillcrest Energy Technologies for this interview. Listeners should consider investing only at their own risk and conduct their own due diligence.